who's currently XM, just about to finish up BKB.
An aggressive blink. He got a use off though on the spin. That delay will not be enough. Too much burst damage coming in. A couple more heroes. XM with the Shivas. The sight device on the Hoodwink, which is not required for yet another Enchantress kill. No problems killing her now. Now that Ame is playing in the front line, Skeeter's gonna make his jump. Gets off the in-range on Ame. Skeeter got that much out of him. But
if you already understand Dota 2, this video is not for you. This is for the people sitting next to someone who does play, staring at a screen full of flashing lights, exploding particles, loud noises, and wondering what any of it means. It's also for the people in the comments trying to explain the game to their friends without sounding like a cult member. If you already play, that's perfectly fine. The goal here, however, is not to play. It's to learn how to watch. There's enough content on the internet for people that play the game. There's not a lot of content for people that just want to appreciate it. We're going to ignore almost everything on the screen. If you want to help, I ask those that play to please keep that in mind. We're going to start with pure chaos, slowly strip it down until you look at the game and roughly tell what the state of it is at any given moment, who's ahead, who's under pressure, and what still matters. Fans will call that who's winning. Fine, as a shortcut. In Dota, winning is mostly a rumor, until the Ancient falls, but we'll get to that. So, first questions first. What exactly is Dota 2? 2 teams of 5, Radiant on the bottom left, Dire at the top right. Each side has a base. Inside that base is a big structure called the Ancient. The only way to win is to destroy the enemy Ancient. Everything else, kills, gold, towers, fancy spells, is just preparation for that one job. You can be massively ahead and still lose. You can be massively behind and still win. And I'm not just saying that for motivational reasons. That is fundamentally how the game is designed. Next, I need to tell you about roles and lanes. There's nothing here you need to memorize. This is just purely context, so the rest of the video makes sense. This is the very, very short version of roles and lanes. You'll often hear casters speak about position 1 through 5. Position 1, also known as the hard carry. This is the most important hero on the team, usually the one that will overcome the enemy team in the late game and take down the Ancient. The rest of the positions are usually built around position 1 to help him get to that end goal. Position 2, or the hero that plays in the mid lane, is the tempo and impact hero. High damage, quick maneuverability will set when teams fight in the early stage. Position 3, also known as the offlaner, is normally the hero that will jump in and try and disrupt most of the enemy fights. And then finally you have position 4 and 5. These are your supports. They make the game playable for everyone else and usually die the most. To fill these positions, each player at the start of the game has the opportunity to pick out of a pool of about 100 heroes. Each hero has strengths and weaknesses, each with their own abilities, and they will choose specific heroes that fulfill those set roles to form a cohesive team. This is an important part of Dota. It's not looked at closely by most people how important the drafting phase of the game is. You can lose by simply drafting the incorrect team at this point in the game. These roles all live on the map in specific places. At the start and at the early stages of the game, the heroes will tend to split between 3 lanes across the map. The safe lane is where the hard carry usually farms, The off lane is the harder, longer lane, and the mid lane is considered your tempo lane. You do not need to memorize or understand the full theory behind roles and lanes. This is purely context for you to be able to understand what is happening in the game, as well as make sense of the rest of the video. The first and most useful tool in watching Dota is this top bar. It's a lot of information that you as a viewer don't really need to know. All you need to look at is this little number over here. What that represents is the gold difference between the two teams. And gold in Dota means a lot, as it is a clear representation of how much net worth, items and value the heroes have managed to build up over the course of the game. A significant difference in gold means one team is clearly more kitted out and wealthy than the other. The next thing to point at is the minimap. This normally sits at the bottom left of the screen, sometimes bottom right, but very rarely. This will show you the current location of every single hero in the game. Each hero is represented by a little icon. So when you see these icons merging together somewhere on the map, you know something big is about to happen. There are a lot of other icons and buildings and structures that the players can interact with, but the defensive towers are the most and easiest way for you to determine what the current state between two teams are. Each lane for both teams consists of a series of towers. The outer rim, which meets in the middle, is considered tier 1. They're the weakest and the easiest to destroy. Then there's tier 2, which sits just outside your base. Then there's tier 3, which sits on top of high ground for both bases, making them harder to actually breach and siege. And then there's tier 4, which sits both just on top of your ancient to be the last line of defense. At the start of the game, the map is basically split in half, with the 3 lanes meeting in the middle at the river. As the game progresses and territory shifts, the lines between where the balance of the map sits will shift. The easiest way to determine where the territory of each team currently sits is by drawing a line based off the defensive towers that are still standing within each lane. Towers are considered your defensive line, and they protect areas around resources that you can gather over time. If those towers fall, you lose that protected space and you have to play a little bit more safe. Once the high ground towers fall within your base, you know things are getting serious. High ground means no vision. You have to put yourself on the same level to be able to see what is actually going on up there. This means you can't simply attack. You have to take chances and risks. The defending team then has an opportunity to actually hold the ground and potentially take a kill or two to get some net worth back. Meaning you can finally finish a specific item, which could help your team take more fights, and eventually you get the win. There's a lot still on the screen that is useful, but not as useful as the gold and the minimap. This is a fraction of what the screen is actually doing, but in order of usefulness. The selected hero box. When the camera is focused on a specific hero, normally the one the casters are currently talking about, you will see their health, mana, portrait, and inventory items at the bottom of the screen. For you as a viewer, not much of this is useful to understand the context of what is happening, but keep a close eye on when a hero becomes extremely hard to kill or extremely mobile. It's normally when they've bought a specific item. The next thing is buybacks. Casters normally talk about this quite a lot as well, as it is a really important mechanic to the game. When a hero dies, they are out of the game for a set amount of time based on how strong they are and how late the game has been going. If they have enough gold, they can instantly come back to life in their fountain if they pay the penalty. This is not an extra life, as they will be paying a penalty of extra time on death next death, but a lot of times this is an important move from players when they realize it's make or break. Most of the buybacks in Dota happen when a team is defending. It's that extra little bit of maybe we can hold the ground and push the enemy back one last time.
Where are you going? Come on, sprites.
Next up is the big beast Roshan. The Roshan is a big neutral monster. In the pit, there's two pits in the middle of the river. He kind of takes a leisurely walk between the two of them as he sees fit, and whenever a team kills him, he drops the Aegis of Immortality. This item brings a player back in about 5 seconds after their next death, and they will not respawn in their fountain, but in actual fact spawn right there where they died. So the fight will continue. Very big item. Both of the teams care about this item a lot, as it means you'll technically be fighting 6 players versus 5. When you see everyone running to the pit, normally means a big fight is about to happen. Last but not least is the day-night cycle. You can see that also at the top bar, and nothing really too important to the viewer, but certain heroes have stronger abilities and greater vision at night, while others have reduced vision, for example. Alright, so I know it is a lot. It's been 11-ish minutes, and it's just been an info dump, but we are done. I cannot strip any more away from Dota without it losing its essence, in a sense. So, with everything we've now touched on, how do you read a game at any given time? You'll never be able to definitively say who's going to win unless you have more context, which I do not want to go into. But you should be able to say who is winning right now, and if that lead is leading somewhere. Look at these things in order. 1. Which team currently has the gold lead? Or is there even a gold lead? How big is the gold lead? Number 2. How many towers on each side still stands? A team with more towers controls more of the map and can play a safer game. Number 3. Whether the leading team in net worth and potentially towers is actually taking advantage of the lead. Are they pushing into enemy territory or simply sitting back within their safe borders? A team that is in the gold lead will try and take advantage of it as much as they possibly can, unless they're waiting for specific items. And lastly, if a team has buybacks. So if one team has a big gold lead, more towers, and the other side has no buyback, they are ahead right now. That is the state of the game. It is useful, but it is not sacred. They can still throw it. They can still lose the net worth. They cannot take the opportunities that they have and fall behind. The other side can still take Roshan, win one fight, get more net worth. Winning in Dota is mostly something people say in chat. The game itself only agrees when the ancient dies, and it is entirely the philosophy of the game. So before I end this video, I just want to say thank you to anyone who's still watching. I know this was a massive info dump kind of video, but it's the barest form of Dota I can represent without losing what it is. But you should now know enough. to go watch any game and kind of make sense of it, there's a lot more. There's so much more to Dota. A 15-minute video is not going to cover even 5% of it, barely. And you are allowed as the viewer to just simply ignore all of it. But don't feel obligated to learn the ins and outs of Dota if you just want to enjoy it as a viewing experience with someone that plays Dota. So if there's any other topics or aspects of Dota you would like me to break down to a fundamental level, I'll gladly do that. I think the community that watches Dota is just as important as the community that plays it. So I want to try and help people that like it, maybe through people they care about, to be able to understand it and share that experience with them. So if there's anything else, please just drop them in the comments. I'll gladly have a look. If there's even simple questions about Dota, I'll gladly answer those. But give me a thumbs up and a subscribe and the usual things. But other than that, enjoy Dota.
Don't mind this kind of style though. Like, they're willing to give up some part of the map early on. A moment in this game for Falcons.